what matters to us most in this world, which will affect our well-being in the hereafter. For whatever we are going to benefit after our death, it is what we do in this world. And one of them is what we do with our relationship. Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created man to be interrelated, to be interdependent. He never wanted anybody to be independent. We must depend on each other. We must relate together. And that is why Islam is about relationship. Relationship between our Lord, relationship between our personal self, and relationship with other creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we're in this world, we're going to relate. And that brings about the issue of marriage too. Because marriage is a relationship between a man and a woman. And by extension, that will have to do with the parents of the man and the parents of the woman. And by extension, it has to do with the relative of the man, the relative of the woman. And by extension, it has to do with the product of that particular marriage too, children now. So, as such, it's relationship. And by virtue of that, because man does not live alone, you're going to live in an environment. You're going to have neighbors. You're going to have a relationship. You're going to be working. You're going to have co-workers. You're going to worship. You're going to have co-worshippers. So, in many, many ways of life, you're going to have relationship. So, how do you manage the relationship? And we know that when we die, we're going to leave everything behind. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enjoined us to strive to do good deeds in this world before we die. We are going to leave this world one day. And one of the things that a wise man will think about is what happens to me after my death. What happens to all my properties after my death? Yes, everybody comes to this world with nothing. But definitely we're not going to leave this world with nothing. We come to this world without any title. We only came to this world even without a name. Well, just a baby, just a child. Baby has been born. That's all that came to this world with. It is whatever your name is given to you. It's Ahmad. It is Razak. It's Abdullah Ghani. It's Alim. Whatever that name is given to you, you have started acquiring title by giving that particular name. With that, you start growing. It's a boy. It's a young boy. It's a man. They start to go and acquire some skill. You go to school, you become an engineer, you become a doctor, you become an accountant, you become whatever you are. You acquire title. They become a husband, they become a wife, they become a father, they become a grandfather. That's how you go on. Then you become a chief, you become an imam. Start acquiring title. Then you start acquiring properties too. When you die, all these things that have acquired, you are going to leave them behind. Because you didn't come to this world with them. And you must acquire something when you die, before you die. So what happens to those things that you have acquired? And that is why we have discussed issue of inheritance for quite a long time. And that inheritance, we all know that inheritance does not belong to you. It is the property of Allah which has been kept in your custody. Now that you are gone, that property is given to other people. It is not yours, it's no more yours. You have no right over it. You have no control over it. Yet you are the one that work for it. So what will benefit you after you are gone? What, you just work for people? What of yourself? What will you benefit after you are gone? You have houses, you left them behind. You have cars, you have properties, lands, everything, left them behind. People inherit them and they use them as they like, as their wish. They become the new owners. You are no more the owner. You are late. So what benefits you? And that is why, because Allah so much loves us and He wants us to have a perpetual benefit after our death. And that is why the issue of WAQF comes in. WAQF. In English, it's called endowment. What you leave behind, must be something that is valuable. It could be a property, it could be a house, it could be land, it could be a business that's left behind. That's going to be perpetual for people to benefit from after you are dead. And that is what's called WAQF. So that the benefits shall be beneficial to you. We have discussed these principles in the past episode. Today we want to look at the conditions. Because people took a look at WAQF as foundation. Foundation is different from WAQF. Foundations are usually run by those who establish it. You establish a foundation, you become the chairman, or you run your foundation. You run your foundation. But WAQF is different. WAQF does not belong to you again the moment you have actually established it. It's given to Allah. But the rewards, you get the rewards. But the property itself is no more your own. And that is why it is triangular. It has the property itself. It has the beneficiaries who are going to benefit from this, defined. Then it has the managers who are going to manage it. So it's tripodal. The properties, they must be there. Who are those that are going to benefit from it? They must be defined. Then those going to manage it. So for the waqf to be valid, the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has actually laid down some rules and regulations. That first of all, the waqf يشترط أن يكون واقف جائز التصرف. First of all, the person that's going to be do a waqf must actually have control over it. Well, the ownership, authority. This property belongs to me. You can't give somebody else property. You can't do waqf on behalf of somebody. It has to be what you have control over. I have this house. I want it to be used for waqf. I have this hospital. I want it to use for waqf. I have this land. I want it for waqf. So that property, I must have control over. It must be mine. I cannot say I want to do it on my friend who is my friend's property. I want to do work on his behalf. No. I must accept he has given me permission that, oh, it's your own, do whatever you like with it. This is my own, but I'll give authority to do whatever you like with. That's what you can say on his behalf. But otherwise, there must be authority to say that actually it is, you know, it is your own, before you can say one could do work on that particular thing. Secondly, for work to take place, the material must be defined. What are we using for waqf? Is it a house? Is it a land? Is it a farm? Is it a company? That thing must be defined. It must be known. You cannot say, oh, I have so many houses. One of my houses I use it for waqf. Which
it must be defined.
Which particular
the exact one?
Which particular one are we talking about? I have so many houses. Just take one of them. No, which particular one? It must be defined. That the particular one that you want to use for waqf must be defined, must be alienated. That this is the one you want to use for waqf. Specific and delineated. Apart from being specific, it must be defined. This is the house. This house, this is the whole house,
or just two,
or is it a floor,
or some apartments,
or is it 2 floors, or some apartment from it? Oh, there are blocks of flats. There are blocks of buildings. This is my block. I have so many buildings here. Which particular? How many of those buildings in my estate? Or is the whole of this estate so that I want to leave behind for waqf? So that it must be delineated and defined. Thirdly, what's going to be used for waqf must be an asset that will have retain original value. It can't be food. Okay, I give food for waqf, because food, the moment you consume food, the food is gone, isn't it? It does not remain. But a building or a farm or a land, on a land you can farm on the land. After farming on the land, the farm brings some yields, isn't it? Then the yields now cannot be sold, and what is sold, revenue can be generated from it. But the last thing, what? The last thing remains. The last thing remains. So it was something that is perpetual, an asset that can be perpetual, can be seen after that period that it has been used, can be reused, can be used and be reused and be reused. That's what can be used as waqf, not something that you just use and you consume and you finish at the same time. Number 4, an yakun halalan. Whatever you're going to use for waqf must be lawful. You must be lawful. It must, one, you have acquired it lawfully. You don't usurp the property of other people. Or this land, because of virtue of your position, you are a lawyer, you're anything. Because of that, now you now use, or you're a surveyor. You now manipulated the owners. You know what?
To acquire it.
Excuse me, acquire this things by force. Usurp their property, the chance. You took over by force to them, either through cheating, or through deceit, whatever. And this is going to become, whereas it does not belong to you originally. That is called haram. And you cannot do sadaqah with haram and expect it to be, beneficial to you. So that's what that you acquire, by halal means. That is halal, it's my own, that's become my own. Then you purify it, then you can still come to use it as that is going to be waqf. Otherwise, you just be like sadaqah, which you are just give back to those who have it. You don't have the reward for it, but you don't have the punishment. So it has to be what is your own. Number 5, it has to be something that is beneficial. And yakuna mufidan linnas. It must be something that's beneficial for people. You can't do waqf with a sinful object. Oh, I want to open a brothel. Let anybody that is traveling, when they come to this, just go there and enjoy and drink and everything. No. You can't. You can only. At least the house. This house is there. One traveler comes and they have no accommodation. Okay, they can be staying this. They get a house. That's a different thing entirely. To manage. But or this is the graveyard. Only shuyukh, only the big sheikh will be buried there, and you must be going there every month, every weekend, or every Thursday, or every year or Rajab to go and do some rituals there. No. You can live in land. You can donate a land for Makbara. Okay, I want to let me Muslim be buried in this place, free of charge. You can do that one, but at the same time, you cannot do it to say, okay, I'm giving you the but subject to the fact that every so and so time they should come and do rituals there. No, you cannot. So it was something that is halal, that's going to benefit people. You can't do waqf with what is what?
Haram.
What's haram, what's forbidden, what you cannot benefit from, what will cause problem for people. You cannot. Because in the La Tayyib, Allah is clean and awesome and plain, and does not accept anything except what is clean and awesome and plain. So you cannot use debt to give to Allah and accept Allah to give you reward for that particular thing. That particular product you want to use for that asset must be available at the time you are making the waqf. It must be available. It cannot be futuristic. Oh, in case when I make a business, I make one. If that business, if the profit I make from it is 10 million, that 10 million, I'm acquiring one land from there. When I'm getting one land from there for 1 million, it will be asset. That's futuristic. You have not had what?
The money.
The product is not on ground. It must be on ground. You cannot place on future, we can probability in case I do this, except if it were to be on your assets. As if I die. No, if I die, because we have discussed what you call. We have discussed what you call it, betrothal. We have discussed wasiya.
Wasiya.
Bequeathal. In case of bequeathal or wasiya, we have discussed that one, and that one is subject to what? 1/3 of your property.
Property.
Not more than 1/3. 1/3. Whatever property you have, up to 1/3 of that property, you can say, okay, when I die, I have 100 billion. This out of this 101 billion that I have, or I have 100 million, 33.3 of this 100 million, I want to use as waqf. I want to use as waqf. The others, 66.6, it should be distributed according to Allah's, definition in the Quran. Fine. You can do up to that 33.3, that is 1/3 of your wealth. That when I die, so much of my wealth should be used as waqf. You have not crossed the boundary, because within but those words are there. Is that what? This one are what?
They are there.
They are there. So that you are just saying, if I have this, so they must be there because you can do waqf. So that is very, very important to waqf. That waqf must be executable. Executable in the sense that when you are not there, people that you want to give authority to manage it should be able to manage it.
Should have access
to it, and you don't hold the control, and you start giving a waqf. You cannot say it's my waqf, yet I'm the one controlling it. Everybody wants to do it, they must come to you again. No, it cannot be waqf. That could be a foundation. But a waqf, it must be that the total control will be left to those who are going to manage it. And that is why I said there are 3 things involved. The property, just like in the case of inheritance. In inheritance, we say we have maybe 3 things, isn't it? In inheritance, there must be
death.
2, there must be property.
And
there must be beneficiaries. There must be what? Heirs. Those who are going to inherit. There must be those who can inherit. If there is nobody that inherits, there is no inheritance. These are the people to inherit. They must be there. The property to inherit must be there, and the person that owns it must have died. In the case of inheritance. But in the case of waqf, the owner of the property can still be alive, but the property will be there. Then those who are the person to execute it will be there. Why do you want to do the waqf? Will be there as beneficiaries. We are going to come to the regulation later. We start discussing beneficiaries, the areas where we can do waqf. We discuss beneficiaries. So that one, it must be executable and this one
accessible.
So, and the beneficiary must be defined. Al-mu'min ala shurutihim. Why do I want to do my waqf? I want to do my work on hospital, I want to do my work on healthcare, I want to do it on education, I want to do on this and this. Despite that, those two I want to do it, who are those that it's meant for? When we go to the areas, we discuss it. Those that are meant for. Are they meant for the kids? Are they meant for elderly people?
For the
are they meant for young people? So whatever, those who must be defined, so that there should be no ambiguity, there will be no confusion. And that is WAQF. So this we must do, and it is encouraged that today, brothers and sisters, we all know what the world is turning to. And let us realize one thing. In Yoruba people, usually we do one prayer, that we always pray that our children should be better than us, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes.
If your children are better than you in all ramifications, surely and definitely all that you own has no great value before the children. Am I right or wrong?
You're right, sir.
Eh?
You're right, sir.
You have a house in Ikorodu, or you have a house in Bagada here, and everything, maybe 2 or 5 hours.
Now all your children have house in Lekki.
And your children now, maybe you're doing some business, maybe you are selling cars, everything, every day. At least I make 200,000 naira profit, I make 1 million in a month, I make 2 million in a month. And this is your child that's making 10 million in a week. In an hour. Maybe it's into IT, or it's making every day, it doesn't know even how much it comes. So it's making billions, and you are making millions. So do you think your property will be available to him? It's not valuable. It's not valuable. He knows my father has this property, but he will not go and stay there. It will not be matter to him. So he can decide to do anything with it. Let's sell these things and let me use the money to invest, or let me just give people to just believe to be Spanish. You will not get the reward you're supposed to get because he cannot think for you. I give an example of the man that died in the Saudi Arabia some time ago, and he left about, they say he made about 100 million. He left on the ground and everything when he died. Just that was traffic, $100 million. He left it and he died, and they had no family to look out, no ascendants, no descendants, no parents, and no children, and no brothers. Kalala, you saw that no brothers, no sisters, and left this property behind. They have to look for who. So then, who is going to inherit this? And the judges must look for the owner of the family. They start tracing the family of this man until they got some people in Syria. There were about 3, and they were distant cousins, about 3 very, very distant cousins that ordinarily they are not entitled to inheritance. They got them. They call them and share this 33 million, 33 million, 33 million, 3.3 million to each one, dollars to each one of them. Fine. Because it's your uncle's or your property and it's died and you must get it back. And not for anybody. They say, okay, fine. Now that this man is dead, that you inherit this, let us do some, work for this
endowments on his behalf.
On his behalf to benefit. The first one said, I've just been praying, just a God sent that God brought this for me. I have so much to do. The other one, the same thing. The third one, you know what he said? You know what he said?
What's that?
He said, what are you asking me to come and do endowment? If he knew that this is benefit, why did he do it himself with his money? He left all this money behind. If he knew that endowment or work would be good for him after he died, he would have done it himself. If he cannot do, shall I be thinking for him? Can you imagine that? Do you get the joke? Do you get lucky? So I cannot be thinking for him. He that he owes the money should have done it for himself.
Directly or indirectly, he's saying the truth.
And he's saying the truth. So why do you expect people to think for you? You cannot think yourself, what's going to benefit me when I die? You want your children to think for what's going to benefit you? Or some other relative people when they have their own challenges and problems? No. You can't be that foolish. And that's why the Messenger Muhammad said, who among you will like his inheritors more than his own property? The property that is meant to be inherited, who is going to like it more than the one that he has himself? And they said no. So your property, the one that's going to be inherited, is what you left behind when you die. It is what you have now that's your own before you die. Before you die, you have control over it. The moment you die, you don't have control over it. Those who inherit it can do whatever they like with it. So when you are alive, why don't you think of what's going to benefit you after you die? And invest this money in such a way that it should be yielding revenue. And this revenue will be used for benefiting other people. While your original property remains there. The original asset will remain there, but the profits or the yields or the revenue that it generates will be used to take care of those things that you want to be taken care of, which we are going to discuss in inshallah fully next week, inshallah. So brothers and sisters, let us think about it. Young one today, don't think, nobody knows when that time is going to come. Young people today, Allah bless some young men today, they are living the age of 50, 60. Some people after that, they have millions, hundreds of millions. Just think, I want to invest this, I want to invest this. Yes, you can invest. Nobody said don't go invest. But while you are investing, from the little you have, create some WAQF. You can be increasing that WAQF. You can be multiplying it, but create it in case anything happens to me. I think that's what I'm going to. That's what's going to benefit me after I'm left. So may Allah make it easy for us. May Allah make us to live long and benefit us. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Like to go on a shop big right now because I'm going to Ayoba listeners. Stay tuned. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wa qafara wa tawakkalna fa nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kama kumweleza nabi kama sahaba nabi mtabi'in bashi bi fa nabi ndak mashajibu Allah ko. Na thinking kama so yetu wa your marriage ìgbéyàwó wa jile wa báwo la ṣe ń tó náà ni tí ètò yìí wà fún ètò yìí náà ni a ti ń ṣàtúnṣe àti kọ́ wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ àti ń ṣàlàyé àwọn tó yẹ fún àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe ń palẹ̀mọ́ àti gbéyàwó, àwọn tí wọ́n ti wà náà àti àwọn tí wọ́n kù díẹ̀ káàtó tí kálukú ti ń mú ẹ̀kọ́ tiẹ̀ bó ti yẹ kó rí. Láti bí ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì sẹ́yìn láti wà lórí àkòrí táǹgbéyàwó tó gbé láti bí oṣù kan láti wà lórí ọ̀rọ̀ nípa ogún pínpín kan tó ṣe pàṣẹ wà wọnú ọ̀rọ̀ nípa waqf. Eléyìí náà ni àwọn táwọn olóyìnbó pè ní endowment tàbí ká pè ní àṣílẹ̀ bí wọ́n bọ́ abá tó wọ́n déwájú ọlọ́run ọba tí ó mọ̀ tẹ̀sán rẹ̀ ó mọ̀ ké lọ. Òun náà ni wọ́n tá ń pè ní endowment. Òun náà ni tí à ń gbé yẹ̀wò lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Kí ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ lábẹ́ rẹ̀ náà ni kí ni àwọn tó rò papọ̀ mọ́ conditions, àwọn tó rò papọ̀ mọ́ àṣesílẹ̀ kí wọ́n tó lè sọ pé èèyàn àṣesílẹ̀ báyìí èmo ti fílẹ̀ kí ni àwọn tó papọ̀ òun náà ni tí a bá ń bá a gbé yẹ̀wò.
Adúpẹ́ fún Ọlọ́run ọba ọba ṣoṣo, ọba tí ò ní àfiwé tí ò sì ní àfijọ, ọba tó ṣàánú wa tó dá wa ní ọmọ ènìyàn, ọba tó ṣàánú wa tó jẹ́ ká wà láyé lọ́jọ́ tèmi, ọba tó ṣàánú wa tó fún wa ní àlàáfíà. Ọpẹ́ ni fún Ọlọ́run ọba náà, a ò ní yé dúpẹ́ fún Ọlọ́run ọba tó ní tó fẹ́ràn nìkan máa dúpẹ́ fún ẹ lọ́wọ́ máṣá wa gba ọpẹ́ wa. Wọ́n lẹ́ni tí ó máa sìn ẹ́ ṣe wá ní tí ó mọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí Olúwa ṣe mẹ́ tí ó máa dúró tì ẹ́, wọ́n lẹ́ni tí ó máa tẹ̀lé àṣẹ Ọlọ́run ọba tó sì máa jìnà sí ohun tí ó fẹ́ ọlájọkan ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run ọba torí lẹ́yìn la fi lè rí ìdùnnú láyé àtàlùkíyàmọ̀ lọ́wọ́ máṣá máa kọ́ wa mọ̀ ṣe atọ́rọ̀ kí àtìgẹ̀ fún aṣáájú ẹ̀dá wa Ànábì wa Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam tí Ọlọ́run bá yàn sílẹ̀ tó gbé dìde tó gbé kalẹ̀ kó máa jẹ́ ohun tí ó máa jẹ́ ìtọ́nà àti ìmọ̀nà fún gbogbo ẹ̀dá ńlá yé pátápátá káyé kó lè dá kọ́nù kó lè dá tó dáa mọ̀ pé táyé bá dá lọ́rùn ẹ̀ máa dá táyé ò bá ti dá ọ̀run ẹ̀ ò lè dá tó ló ń jẹ́ káyé dá tó jẹ́ káyé dá náà ni pé kéèyàn mọ Ọlọ́run ọba kó sì máa sin Ọlọ́run tó bá ń sin Ọlọ́run ọba tó mọ Ọlọ́run ọba tó sì tẹ̀lé àṣẹ rẹ̀ ayé rẹ̀ ti dá tó nígbà tá a wá sílé ayé àmọ́ mú kankan wá sílé ayé yìí tàbádẹ́ máa ń lọ́nà àdémú kankan lọ sílé ayé yìí àákọ́ ṣiṣẹ́ láàrin yẹn àdẹ́fẹ́lẹ̀ Ọlọ́run tó máa jẹ́ ká wá wúlò kó wúlò fún wa lọ́jọ́ àlùkìyámà òun náà ní tá a bá gbélé ayé ìṣe jẹ́ ká lè ṣe ohun tó máa wúlò fún wa ìka àti ọlọ́run kó máa bá nàbí wa Muhammadu sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam alákùnrin àti lóbìnrin assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ó ti lè jẹ́ pé ètò wa yìí pẹ́ pọ̀ lé nítorí tráfíkì tí kọ́ńtínà kò tó rí lọ́nà Kòròdú náà ló fa tí ó fi jẹ́ ká pẹ́ ká tó lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní èní àbátẹ̀tí lè gbàdúrà àbẹ̀tẹ̀ abẹ́rẹ́ àyẹn lórí àṣẹ aṣọ lójú ẹ̀ náà máa wá kọ́ńtínù ní
tẹ̀síwájú lọ́jọ́ mẹ́jọ
bẹ́ẹ̀ náà dọ̀sẹ̀ bíi méjèèjì àgbọ̀ àtẹ̀sọ Yorùbá òyìnbó la fún wákàtí kan sọ àráyè sọ Yorùbá ti tiẹ̀ àmọ́ àmọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ lé àtúnṣe yẹn má
ṣiṣẹ́ ń tẹ̀lé
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sọ fún wa pé akílóyèdè àti ẹ̀ẹ́tẹ̀ bá wa ṣèdè tiwọn rárá lọ́sẹ̀ yìí
sọ tíátíá
Ọlọ́run kó ṣàánú wa náà Ọlọ́run àgbà fún wa
àmín
ohun tí a ń gbéyẹ̀wò náà nísìnyí náà ní ọ̀rọ̀ wákfù tá à ń pè ní ìpèsè sílẹ̀ di ọjọ́ ọ̀la nígbà tá a bá fàyè sílẹ̀ kí ló máa wúlò fún wa gbogbo wa la mọ̀ pé agbàtà wá sílẹ̀ ayé yìí kò sẹ́dá tí ó mọ̀ ọmọdé lè máa mọ̀ bàtàgbà mọ̀ ó mọ̀ pé gbà tó ń wá sílẹ̀ ayé òun mú kankan dání kò dẹ̀ sí kankan tẹ́ ẹ̀yà ní ọmọdé abímọ ọmọ lórúkọ tó bọ́ ń jẹ́ orúkọ tá à ń jẹ́ gan-an wa kọ́ la sọ́ra wa nígbà tá a di lọ́sọ̀ wa sọ pé orúkọ báyìí ní Abdulhamid ni ó máa jẹ́ o Abdulgafar ni ó máa jẹ́ o Muhammadu ni ó máa jẹ́ o Karim ni ó máa o yóò ṣe wá sọ ẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gba kí ló ti ń pè
súná
ó ṣe gba súná ó ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ pé mo náà ti ní nǹkan ó ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní nǹkan ó ti kú lórúkọ tó gbóyè ń jẹ́ gbogbo ọmọ yẹn ló ń jẹ́ ọmọ òun ti wá rí pé Abdulgafar lélẹ̀ ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní àdáyẹrí pé ta ló ṣe Abdulgafar ni ta ló ń bọ̀ Abdulgafar ni ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní àdáyẹrí bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló ṣe wá ń ba lọ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ra òun náà lọ sí ilé ìwé ọmọ ẹ ti di jáde ìwé mẹ́fà o òun náà ti di ẹtúnṣe kínní tó jáde ìwé mẹ́fà ó ti jáde ìwé mẹ́wàá o ó ti parí ó wá tó lọ sí yunifásitì o ó ti jáde ọmọ graduate mà ní lawyer mà ní accountant mà ní engineer mà ní doctor mà ní businessman mà ní òun náà ṣe kínní ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ipò àbí gbèsè ayé ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dípò náà ni ó náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣiṣẹ́ àwọn náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣiṣẹ́ ó ti dọ̀gá ó ti di manager ó ti di gíníkà ó náà máa ti kọ́lé ó ti donílé ó ti láńlọ ládùúgbò yìí ó náà máa ti àwọn ti fẹ́yàwó ó ti di ìyá lágbájá ó ti bá ọkọ létà ó náà ti di àwọn ti di bàbá o àwọn ti di ìyá o àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ ṣiṣẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kó àṣìṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí kó kí àwọn táìtù Yorùbá náà àṣìṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gba àwọn oyè àbí ipò láyé díẹ̀ tí yóò fi máa bá lọ yóò máa ṣiṣẹ́ yóò máa lówó yóò máa ní ogbẹ̀ yóò máa ní nǹkan oṣù tó máa bá lọ gbogbo tó wá ní yìí náà nígbà tó wá yá màmá fẹ́ gbẹ̀ sílẹ̀ nígbà tí mo ń bọ̀ mi kò kọ́ dání gbogbo tó dẹ̀ kó wáyé náà ọkọ̀ sílẹ̀ ń bodè ìjọ tó bá ti kú báyìí ẹni tó bá ti kú ti dolòṣì ẹni tó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ ti lè lóko lówó tó ìjọ tó bá ti kú ó ti dolòṣì kò ní kọ́ bọ̀ mọ́ torí gbogbo tó kó jẹ́ yẹn kò ti tiẹ̀ mọ́
ti di tàwọn ẹlòmíì
ó ti tẹ ẹlòmíì Ọlọ́run ló lówó ẹni tó sì lówó tó fẹ́ gbà nǹkan padà a ti sọ̀rọ̀ fún wa nípa ogún tá a sọ bí odindi oṣù méjì mẹ́ta la fi tírìtì ogún Ọlọ́run ló lówó òun ló lọ́lá òun ló ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹni tó sì ní tó fún ẹ ó ti gbọ́ tí ẹ bá ti kó ti gbà nǹkan ẹ̀ padà pé wá ń bí tó bá mójútó tó dàbọ̀ bá ń kó nǹkan mi kó lẹ̀ àbúrò ló kó wá òkó kó lẹ̀ máa bọ̀ padà sọ́dọ̀ mi ó ti kó lẹ̀ nìyẹn Ọlọ́run tó sì nǹkan ó ti pé bó ṣe wù inú Quran eléyìí ẹ̀fẹ́ lélẹ̀ Ọlọ́run ti pín ìwọ náà torí pé ó ṣe wàhálà mo fún ẹ ní ìdá mẹ́ta bó ṣe Ọlọ́run ti ṣe so olúwo ní kankan mọ́ nígbà tí àwọn tó wá jẹgún tó fẹ́ jẹ sọ́wọ́n tó máa ti bá ṣe fẹ́ wúlò fún èmi tí mo wá ní nǹkan tí mo ṣiṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ báyìí kí ni ìwúlò ti wàhálà tí mo ṣe yìí fún èmi tí mo ṣe wàhálà lórí ẹ̀ kí ni ìwúlò tèmi ẹ̀ tó bá Yorùbá sọ pé ọlọ́gbọ́n yẹn ló máa ń pọ̀ mí sílẹ̀ sí ni dòǹgbẹ torí òǹgbẹ ń bẹ́ńjọ́ àlè kìámà ebi ń bẹ́ńjọ́ àlè kìámà ń tó bá ṣe láyè ló máa jẹ ebi wà nù sàárè o òǹgbẹ wà nù sàárè o lọ́ba wọn sọ́kọ́ra oyè ẹja sàárè kó má jẹ́ o kó gbẹ sàárè má gbẹ o abẹ́kọ́ lọ́sọ̀ máa ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ torí pé má fi àṣà tó ìyàwó wà ń bẹ̀ ebi wà ń bẹ̀
ìfòwò wà ń bẹ̀ ìdààmú wà ń bẹ̀
ṣẹlẹ̀ ìdààmú wà ń bẹ̀ kí ni mo fẹ́ máa wá jẹ tí n bá débẹ̀ ọlọ́gbọ́n èèyàn ló máa ń pomi gbẹ̀dòǹgbẹ̀ òun ló gbìyàn ló máa ń ṣàṣe sílẹ̀ pé máa jẹ lọ́la tó bá dọ̀la rẹ o iṣẹ́ ọ̀la yẹn ìta ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ni pé àmọ́ ṣiṣẹ́ mo ń tarẹ́ mọ́ṣẹ́ lọ́jọ́ àárọ̀ mi kí lè má bàa jẹ́ lọ́jọ́ alẹ́ ọjọ́ alẹ́ tó fẹ́ jìyà kì í ṣayé yìí nìkan o ọjọ́ alẹ́ yẹn gangan ni kí ni ọjọ́ ẹ̀yìn àlàáfíà kí ló fẹ́ wá báńgbà náà ẹ̀tọ́jà ayé òun jẹ́ ká ronú yẹn o ìyẹn la ṣe wá gbẹ̀tọ̀ ìkàlẹ̀ bá ṣàlàyé fún wa pé àṣepamọ́ yìí kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá la ṣe ń ṣe ní Islam fẹ́ni tó bá lọ́gbọ́n tó rọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ òru ń lọ síbẹ̀ èṣù ò ní jẹ́ ká ronú lọ síbẹ̀ torí gbọ́n tá à ń kójọ yìí nínú ọlá nínú owó nínú gbogbo ẹ̀ tí èèyàn tọ́lọ́run bá fẹ́ràn èèyàn tọ́lọ́run bá gbàdúrà gbogbo àdúrà tá à ń ṣe tọ́lọ́run bá gbà lọ́wọ́ wa gbogbo wa náà ní àdúrà ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó mọ́ jù wá lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó mọ́ jù wá lọ́wọ́ ọjọ́ kó mọ́ wá jù wá lọ́wọ́ àdúrà ní abẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀dọ̀ fẹ́ kọ́ lọ́mọ́ jù lọ ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ tó jù ẹ̀ lọ wá nífẹ̀ẹ́ ẹni ṣùgbọ́n tó jù ẹ̀ lọ wúlò fún ẹni ohun tó máa ń jẹ́ kéèyàn ṣe kéèyàn rábàbà lábẹ́ yẹn kan láyé ni púpọ̀ lábẹ́ ọ̀gá mi ni kí ló ṣe é ọ̀gá mi fẹ́ ṣe torí kí ni toró ju ẹ lọ tó bá ti wá ju ọ̀gá ẹ lọ́nkọ́
ò ní rábà fún mọ́
wọ́n bá ló máa rábà fún mọ́ àwọn ọ̀gá wọn ló tún èmi àmì kìíní kan ọ̀gá ẹ má bínú màá ṣe kí ni ẹ níta torí pé ó ti jù lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ Islam fẹ́ kọ́ mọ́ jù wa lọ àdúrà ọ̀nà dẹni àdébìbìrán dẹni kọ́ abẹ́ Rabbana هب لنا
من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما
Ọlọ́run bá wò kẹwàá látara àwọn ṣiṣẹ́ fún wa látara àwọn ìyàwó àtàwọn
هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا
àwọn àtútù ojú níbikíbi tó bá ti wà kó máa jẹ́ ní ìyìn àpọ́nlé
قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما
ṣé wọ́n ní olórí
إماما
ṣé wọ́n ní olórí kọ́mọ wa máa jẹ́ olórí níbikíbi tó bá ti wà àdúrà ni tó ká máa ṣe àmúríkà kúrò ló máa ní bùkátà máa gbọ́ sọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà tí ẹ̀ bá ti wá tọ́mọ bá wá jùyàn lọ tó bá lówó jùyàn lọ tó ní gbọ́jọ́ lọ lóòótọ́ wá mọ̀ pé bàbá mi ló ṣe dé amójútó àmọ́ mójútó títí ẹ̀ kò lè dàbí bó ṣe wá jójútó títí ẹ̀ náà lọ torí títí ẹ̀ ti ju tiẹ̀ lọ nígbà tó ọmọ kọ́lé sí Kòròdú ọmọ kọ́lé sí Ṣàngíṣà àti ọmọ kọ́lé sí Ayọ̀bọ ọmọ kọ́lé sí Sùúrùlérè àbíbọ̀lẹ̀ kọ́lé bó ṣe ló kọ́lé sí gbogbo ilé tó kọ́ tó bá lù lé ẹ̀ bí apátápátá kọ́ ní 50 million 100 million
ọmọ sì ti kọ́lé sí Lẹ́kì
ọmọdé kọ́lé sí Lẹ́kì ọmọ kọ́lé sí Banana Island owó 1 billion ilé 1 billion ló ń kọ́ bàbá kọ́lé 100 million àbí kí ní kọ́ ní méjì mẹ́ta gbà tó wá tó owó ẹ̀ náà sí bàbá ń gbà tó owó tó rú náà bàbá ń rí owó tó rí láyé mẹ́bí orí àrùjúmọ́ àrí 2 million 5 million bó ti business pọ̀ tó ọmọdé ló mẹ́kì 100 million lójoojúmọ́ yìí owó ti pẹ̀lẹ́pẹ̀tẹ́ yìí bó ti lè kórí akọ̀rẹ́ jẹ́ ká ta bàbá yìí ká fi dákínní kò ráyè láti mójútó mọ́ gbogbo wàhálà tí wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe yìí dẹ̀ ní kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn wàhálà yìí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹbẹ̀ lọ́sọ̀nà Ọ̀jẹ̀bú ẹlẹ́sọ̀ àwọn lókè lọ́sí gbogbo káàkiri àwọn ilé kan wà lórí wọn tó ti darúgbó mọ́bẹ̀ àwọn ilé kan lẹ́mí ẹ̀gànà ọ̀fíà bí ó dàbí kó wọ́n tẹ̀ gbẹ́bẹ̀ rí ni àwọn ilé ńláńláńláńlá kò sí kan tó fi ṣe mọ́ wọ́n ti dahoro síbẹ̀ àwọn ilé ńlá dẹ̀ ni wọ́n kọ́kọ́ láyé mi wà nínú wọn nígbà tẹ́ni tó wà láyé tí ò mójútó tí ò ronú pé tí n bá lọ tán bá lọ fẹ́ bá mánéjẹ ẹlòmíì kọ́ lẹ́mi o yàrá mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n yàrá kíní kan ló kún bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ti kú tán ta ló fẹ́ mójútó gbélé àwọn ọmọ mi ìgbà wọn ti jà fógún wọn ti para wọn tán àwọn ilé ìwà ń bẹ̀bẹ̀ kí láǹfààní ẹ̀ ìwọ́n tó dẹ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ fún ló fẹ́ jìyà fún níwájú Ọlọ́run yìí kí láǹfààní àwọn ilé lẹ́sìn ní ká pera wa sá kíyèsí eléyìí ká yára wa ní brain ká ronú sí o a máa lọ́jọ́ ká fi àkọ́wò bóyá ní kú ọmọdé dandan ní kíni dandan ní kú àgbà ọmọdé lè máa pẹ̀tà àgbà arúgbó akújọ kan ṣáà ni akújọ kan tó bá dẹ̀ bá jọ́ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lè má pè bí mo ṣe pé tẹ́lẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ mọ́ lásìkò tó kọ́ lọ pé yìí ká máa rò pé mo ṣe ń ṣe nǹkan yìí ká máa ṣe sí ìpamọ́ láṣẹ pamọ́ ọlátakoro wọnú ẹ̀dọ́
kò lè mọ́ ọmọ ẹ̀rọ
àmọ́ tó bá gbọ́ nǹkan
àmọ́ ọmọ ìdání.
bó bá ti ń já méjì àwọn àbẹ̀já fẹ́ẹ́ tó bá ti ń ṣe iṣẹ́ àwọn máa jẹ kémi kọ́mọdé tó jẹ́ omi náà jọ kọ́mọdé èmi náà máa ṣe pamọ́ fún mẹ́ra mi náà ẹ̀yin ọmọ ẹ̀ máa jẹ ogún eléyìí àmì eléyìí ẹ̀ má débẹ̀.
èmi lè ìfúnra
mi. mo lè lè ìfúnra mi tó bá lọ tán.
ìyẹn ni wákùfù tiẹ̀.
wákùfù tèmi nìyẹn eléyìí ẹ̀yin ọmọ eléyìí mo ṣe tèmi mo ti eléyìí àwọn tó jọ eléyìí mo ṣe fúnra mi ẹ̀ tó bá ti gbọ́n tó bá ti lóye ó láti ṣe àwọn eléyìí là ń pè ní wákùfù àwọn àṣepamọ́ sílẹ̀ yìí tó tó bá lọ tán àwọn nǹkan kí la fi ń ṣe wákùfù àwọn nǹkan tó bá jẹ́ pé ó níye lórí tó dẹ̀ jẹun tó máa wà gbére kò sí tó wà gbére náà o àmọ́ tí ó jẹ́ tí ó ní àlòpẹ́ bí ilẹ̀ bí ilé bí oko bí kànga bí igi
bí ká gbòógì
àwọn igi èso ká gbìn wọ́n sẹ́ẹ̀ táwọn èèyàn máa jẹ tó jẹ́ pọ́dọ̀ ọdún ní òsì máa ṣe kí ni
yóò
máa mú oṣù mi wá ọdún bí ilé ní ààrẹ ti àfi lé rẹ́ǹtì ilé ọdún máa wà ṣe kí ni wọ́n máa sọ rẹ́ǹtì ọdún rẹ́ǹtì yóò máa wá ilé yìí dúró ní gẹ́gẹ́ bí
wákùfù
ilé àwọn nǹkan báyìí la fi ń ṣe wákùfù wákùfù tá a wá ń sọ yìí ó ní condition àwọn condition yìí lákọ̀ sọ ní fẹ́rẹ́ jogi fúnra wa tó bá di ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ lágbọ́ lọ́hùn á fẹ́ lójú.
a ṣàtúkalẹ̀.
àkọ́kọ́ nu condition tí a lè fi ṣe wákùú fẹ́ ṣe wákùú fúnra mi o á jẹ́ ohun tó jẹ́ pé mo ní ẹ̀tọ́ lé lórí mi yẹn fi nǹkan oní nǹkan ṣe wákùú.
n tó jẹ́ tèmi gangan.
tí ẹbí wa ni bàbá wa ló ní ẹbí wa ló ní bó wa lájọ ní èmi àtàwọn ọmọ ìyá.
mi sì láṣáájú.
mi mo ṣáájú ò lè fi ṣe ó láti jẹ́ pé èmi tẹ́ ń fún mi.
nǹkan àdáni tiẹ̀.
nǹkan àdáni mi ni èyí láti ní authority lórí ìyẹn fi nǹkan ní nǹkan ṣe wákùú. èyí fi nǹkan tí ìyẹn bá jẹ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àràmù tó gbà lọ́wọ́ tó ṣe tó lọ́wọ́ gbà mo ń ṣe surveyor ni àbí mo ń ṣe lọ́ọ̀yà ni mo wá yíwèé ilẹ̀ yẹn éka 8 ni éka 10 ni mo wá pè fún wọn léka 6 éka 2 tó kù.
mo ní ká fi ṣe wákùú.
mo wá ní ká fi ṣe wákùú irọ́ o ìwọ kọ́ ló ní nǹkan oní nǹkan nìyẹn o èyí fi nǹkan oní nǹkan ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ìwọ kọ́ ló ní ìtújẹ́ kó jáde jẹ́ tá a fi ṣe wákùú ó láti jẹ́ ohun tá a lè tọ́ka sí pé kíní yìí rèé o àwọn ilẹ̀ mi tó wà níbi kan mo fi ṣe wákùú ilẹ̀ wo ń bẹ̀ éka mélòó ni níbo ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ níbo ló parí sí ibi tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ rẹ o ibi tó parí sí rẹ o ká fi gígùn ibi tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ àbí ṣe wákùú mo nílé ni àwọn létí mo ní sùúrù lérè yẹn ní estate yẹn mo fi méjì ṣe wákùú mbẹ èwo nu méjì yẹn
gbọ́dọ̀ ní tọ́ka.
kí àná kà sí number 1 number 2 ni àbí number 8 number 9 ni ká mọ̀ pé àwọn ilé gangan ni wákùú ká fi ṣe àti mo fi ṣe yẹn ṣe pẹ̀lú fẹ́ǹsì ní àtọ́gbà ní àbí ilé nìkan ni mo fi ṣe wákùú àbí àti gbogbo ọgbà àti gbogbo lẹ́yẹ pọ̀ mọ́ ọgbà òkè yẹn sọ pé mo fi lè ṣe wákùú kọ́ ni pé kò sí kọ́mpáàdì náà ilé ló pé náà ṣó sọ pé òun fi wákùú àwa máa fi ṣọ́ọ̀bù tiwa bàbá ló ní ilé ìwádìí ilé kẹgbà ẹ̀fí lè ilẹ̀ ìrọ̀ o àti kọ́mpáàdì àti fẹ́ǹsì láti ibi dé bí.
àti gbogbo ṣọ́ọ̀bù tó wà lára ẹ̀.
gbogbo ṣọ́ọ̀bù tó wà lára ẹ̀ gbogbo eléyìí ó láti jẹ́ pé ohun tí ó ṣe é tọ́ka sí pé báyìí ni n ta fi ṣe wákùú ó láti jẹ́ ohun tó ṣeé ṣe nígbà tí èèyàn bá sí bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ ìyẹn nígbà tí ò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́ àkàndé ṣeé ṣe mọ́ àbí nǹkan tó mú yẹn ti kọjá yẹn tó ẹ kó mú nínú ogún tí ẹ bá ní tẹ́ bá fi sílẹ̀ àti sọ pé ìdàpọ̀ ìdá 3 ẹ̀ èèyàn lè fún lọ bó ṣe wù fún rẹ̀ ìdá 2 inú 3 ọlọ́run bá ti pín inú 1/3 yẹn sọ pé mo máa fi ṣe wákùú 1/3 ṣe wákùú àmọ́ ò lè fi gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe wákùú irọ́ o mo ti kú bá ọmọ yẹn mo ti kọ gbogbo ọlọ́mọ bá ọmọ yẹn mo kọ̀ wọ́n lọ́mọ kò sí nǹkan tó máa jẹ mo ti fi gbogbo mi mo ti fi ṣe wákùú irọ́ o lè ṣe ìwọ kọ́ ló ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ìwọ kọ́ ló ní kí ni
ọkọ ló ní ogún
1/3 ló ní bẹ̀ tó lè fi 2/3 ọlọ́run ló ní kódà kọ́ mi má gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe lẹ́nu olè sọ pé òun ní fún ní nǹkan kan àbí tó bá ṣe Islam lókù ó lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ sí àbí tó bá pé òun ló pa é lókù tó bá ní ìdítọ́ kò fi lè gbẹ àbí tó bá ti síbẹ̀ ó láti gbogbo ẹ̀ ó gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe lẹ́nu kò gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe lẹ́nu ọlọ́run ti sọ pé yóò jẹ́ ajẹ́ nìyẹn ọlọ́run ló pin ìyàwó yẹn ń gbé kò ń dọ́rọ̀ sí mẹ́nu kò ń ṣe tó bá ti lè kọ́
lójú ayé
ẹ̀rọ rábà má fún ní kankan o eléyìí kan fún gbogbo ẹ̀ o lè fún ẹnìkan nìkan jù kan lọ ọlọ́run ti pín àwọn tó fẹ́ pín fún àmọ́ ní 1/3 yẹn o lè ṣe wákùú tó bá fẹ́ ṣe ń bẹ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́ ìlú ṣe pàtàkì fẹ́ dàkú mọ̀ láyé torí pọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yẹn máa jẹ́ ní dáadáa á kú tán ogún ẹ̀ ló máa dá wàhálà sílẹ̀ fún ló máa sọ́dẹ̀ ní náà torí kò mójútó ẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ so láti jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ wákùú kò í ṣe ti jẹ́ pé èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ kí mo ní kò gbọ́dọ̀ tó bá ti ju àgbò sílẹ̀ á ṣe kí ni.
àgbàgbà fáfá àgbò fún èèyàn ọjọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ lẹ́ni.
ìgbà mo fi wákùú àmọ́ náà ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú láìrẹ́ ẹsẹ̀ mi bẹ̀rẹ̀ o láṣẹ lórí ẹ̀ mọ́ o. nǹkan 3 ló láti wà ká tó ṣe wákùú ká tó gbógun 3 ló máa wà 3 kó yẹ tó gbógun òkú á kú.
àwọn tó fẹ́ jogún.
á sì rogún fún rẹ̀.
wákùú
bí kan 3 ọba sí kò sójú wákùú à ń láti rí ohun tá a fẹ́ fi ṣe wákùú. àkọ́kọ́ láti rèrè à ń láti rí àwọn tó fẹ́ jàǹfààní wákùú kí la fẹ́ fi ṣe láti jẹun tó máa wúlò fáwọn èèyàn a lè ṣe wákùú níbi tó ń wúlò fáwọn èèyàn. yẹ pé àwọn ọ̀dọ́ lókun bẹ̀ yẹn bí wọ́n dẹ̀ wà wọ́n tó tí wọ́n lọ sí irú banana land kó ló fẹ́ ṣe wákùú fáwọn ọ̀fà níbẹ̀ ọ̀fà wo ló fẹ́ fún ní wákùú ní wọ́n banana island.
ọ̀fà gan ò lè gbé banana island.
ọ̀fà gan ò lè gbé bẹ́ẹ̀ so wákùú wo ló banana island pé wọ́n fàn kò ṣiṣẹ́ ọ̀fà wo ló fẹ́ gbé bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn.
ọmọ ọbẹ̀ láyé bọ́ àbí kò lè.
láti jẹ́ pé ibi tá a ti fẹ́ ṣe kinní yìí o àwọn tó fẹ́ jàǹfààní ẹ̀ o wọ́n wà tó sí ń bẹ̀ so láti jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ àdé láti rí wípé ẹni tó fẹ́ mójútó láti wà 3 ni ẹnìkan ní òmójútó you have to appoint a manager you have to appoint an executor wàlí tó máa bá a mójútó wọ́n kọ́kọ́ tó máa mójútó nǹkan fún rẹ̀ àdẹ́kù wọn náà nímọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé àwọn onímọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ tó máa láyé òun fẹ́ mójútó tí bá ti wá lọ tán ẹni báyìí kò máa mójútó o láti appoint ẹ̀ torí pé kíní yìí o fẹ́ kó wà lẹ́yìn ìgbà tó bá ṣe kíní
tó bá ti kú tán
so wọn láti yọ tó máa mójútó so mẹ́ta yìí láti wà fún wákfù kó tó pa ṣe wákfù so tó bá dijọ́ mẹ́jọ inshallah a ṣàlàyé ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ lórí àwọn eré àwò la fi ń ṣe wákfù ṣé ẹ̀kọ́ ni o ṣé táwọn ọmọ òrukàn ní fẹ́ ṣe ni o ṣé táwọn tí wọ́n níyàwó fẹ́ ṣe o ṣé tí ìwòsàn ní fẹ́ ṣe fún ni o ṣáwọn tó fẹ́ ṣèyàwó tí wọn ò rówó ṣèyàwó ní fẹ́ ṣe fún ni o oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà lágbà ṣe wákfù.
wọ́n tó fẹ́ ṣèyàwó tí wọn ò rówó ṣèyàwó wọ́n lè ṣe ìpèsè fún wọn.
wọ́n fẹ́ ṣèyàwó dàtí tó níyàwó.
olùwà síbi láìsí ní nǹkan
owó dàtí lówó ó dàtí ti jáde yunifásitì ó ti ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ àmọ́ kò tí ì níṣẹ́ tó jẹ ókè fún ní 200 million $1 million ẹ ṣèyàwó fún ẹgbàálẹ̀ fún fọ́dún mẹ́ta ọdún mẹ́rin láàrin ọdún mẹ́rin ẹ̀kọ́ ríṣẹ́ wọ́n bá tiẹ̀ lọ wọ́n máa ṣe kíní lọ so àwọn wákfù bẹ́ẹ̀ wà tó máa fi dí ìwà torí wákfù iṣẹ́ tó fẹ́ ṣe ni pé kó dí ìwà ìbàjẹ́ kù kẹ́ bá gbogbo kan sórí ìjọba ẹ má ní kò ní máa sísì náà kò ní máa sí àǹpáyàn bí àǹpáyàn náà kidnapping àdínkù táwọn bá rí bí táwọn èèyàn bá ríṣẹ́ ṣe ojúṣe private sector ni nínú Islam ká make sure pé kí ìjọba lẹ́gbẹ̀gbẹ̀lẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ kí ló lè ṣe láti jẹ́ káwọn ọ̀dọ́ àwọn tó máa ṣe àkótó fix wọn àwọn obìnrin tó lọ́kọ àwọn obìnrin tó kọ́ wọn ti kú àwọn ọmọ tó lóbi àwọn ọmọ tó níyàwó gbogbo àwọn eléyìí kí la lè ṣe fún wọn tí wọ́n máa fi wúlò fúnra wọn tó máa fi wúlò fẹ́sìn àwọn eléyìí ni wákfù ìṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí tí ó ká kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lórí ẹ̀ a lè ṣe lórí pé káwọn yàwó káfí yàwó yàn lówó fẹ́ ṣe business kò lówó ó dẹ̀ ní 200,000 àbí kìíní kan ok kò sí interest lórí ẹgbà after oṣù mẹ́fà dá padà after oṣù kan kó dá padà all those kind of ẹ̀dẹ̀ ẹ̀wà tẹ̀yẹ pẹ̀lú ṣe wákfù lé lórí tó ní ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lórí ẹ̀ tuntun wájú mẹ́jọ inshallah á continue lórí eléyìí ẹ̀tọ́ tó lọ bá ti kẹ́nu wa ẹ jẹ́ ká máa ronú sí i bọ́lá ń ṣe kẹ́yìn ìkílẹ̀ mi náà tẹ̀lé ṣe I want to do a work for my life gbogbo àwọn sábà àkọlùkọ ló ṣe wákfù ó láti wà nínú èròǹgbà mùsùlùmí mo fẹ́ lọ sí Mẹ́kà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kó wá pé àmì náà fẹ́ ṣe kankan tó wá jẹ́ àṣepamọ́ tó máa lọ tọ́sẹ̀ mọ́ṣáláṣí ni fẹ́ ṣe fún un kí ni kan ni ẹ̀dẹ́ láti máa ronú sí gẹ́gẹ́ bí mùsùlùmí pé kí ló máa wà má jẹ́ kí n kákùnrùn jẹ́ kí ló máa wà lẹ́yìn mi tó máa wúlò fún mi.
nǹkan òfin kí n kákùnrùn kì í ṣe kéèyàn ó fi ogún lẹ̀ fáwọn
ọmọkọ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn kákùnrùn wọn ìyẹn lẹ́yìn kákùnrùn ọmọ tó bá fún ọmọ sìn kí ẹ bí mọ méjì àbí mẹ́ta kájú pé kọ̀ọ̀kan wọ́n jẹ́ 100 million ẹ fún wọn ogún yìí rè ẹ lọ lẹ́yìn ọdún márùn-ún ẹ béèrè pé wọ́n wọ ẹ̀dá lọ́wọ́ ẹlòmíì èmi ò ní kọ́bọ̀ mo ti dájọ́ orílẹ̀.
ti padà sí bó ti wà tẹ́lẹ̀.
èyí so iye ò má papọ̀ fún ọjọ́gùn ìsọpọ̀ fẹ́ ṣoríire so ilé ṣe pàtàkì láti mójútó lórí àwọn lórí àwọn ọmọ.
tá a bá ṣe ní pèsè gan-an ní tiwa.
so àṣepèsè ẹgẹ tá a ṣe sílẹ̀ fún wa gangan òun gangan ní títí wa so àwọn ilé ìlà fẹ́ mọ́ múdàndẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lórí kọ́lọ̀ kó ṣàlékún àgbọ̀yé fún wa náà káwọn náà open mind wa káàdẹ̀ láníyàn kan fẹ́ ṣe léyìí tába ti láníyàn ìwà láwọn ọlọ́run àlọ́ lórí ẹ̀ ọlọ́run kó bá tún ìlú wa ṣe kó bá tún agbègbè wa ṣe kó bá tún ọ̀dẹ̀dẹ̀ wa ṣe kó bá tún nàìjíríà ṣe kó bá tún gbàgbáyà ṣe gbogbo tó ń jà ní Gaza kọ́lọ́ kó bá dá dúró gbogbo tó ń jà lórí káàkó ọ̀dọ̀ kọ́lọ́ kó bá dá dúró báwọn tó fẹ́ fẹ́ yàwó ọlọ́run bá fún yàwó alábàárà àti ìyàwó ọlọ́run kó bá falùbáríkà sí wọn ṣé wọ́n ní àríkọ́ṣe wọ́n ṣe wọ́n ní àríkọ́gbọ́n wọ́n kọ́ sáré wọ́n kọ́ sáré jáde wọ́n lọ́wọ́ kó wọn lọ́gbọ́n àtòyí tó máa fi ń jókòó síbẹ̀ táwọn náà fi ń fọmọ ọlọ́kọ táwọn náà bá dàgbà tán àjọkọ̀ lọ́wọ́ bá wọn tó tí ní bá fún níyàwó lálùbáríkà tó tí lọ́kọ bá fún lọ́kọ lálùbáríkà àwọn tó wá wọ́ ọmọ bá fún ọmọ lálùbáríkà ọlọ́mọ bó tó wà ní ìgbèkùn bá tó ọ sílẹ̀ àwọn tó tí níṣẹ́ bá fún níṣẹ́ lálùbáríkà ọlọ́mọ àwọn tó wà níṣẹ́ iṣẹ́ yóò tó jẹ ọlọ́kọ tó jẹ akọkọ máa dúkọ lásán ni báwa ṣe tó máa tó jẹ fún ọlọ́mọ báwa falùbáríkà sí tó bá fún wọn tó bá ti fún wa falùbáríkà sí ọlọ́run falùbáríkà lójú tó fún wa quantity kan ló mọ́ta alibarika yẹn ni kò bá fi subu tá bá ti fún wa lọ́wọ́ wala jọkọrọ la hawla lana wala quwwata lana.
illa billahi aliyu azim.
barakala habibika nabika muhammad wa ala alihi wa sabata ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. ní ìwúlẹ̀ ni wọ́n máa fi àdàgbà ètò ẹ̀ma mi ti rọ sí fún àǹfààní àwọn tó bá ṣì yẹn ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ẹ lè lọ síbi àwọn ìtàkùn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ rẹ lórí YouTube Light Radio lórí Facebook Light Radio lórí Instagram Light_radio bákan náà lórí rédíò gàlẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bí wọ́n ní kétékété pé wọ́n fara ti download app rẹ lórí Play Store lr náà ní ìsàmì rẹ̀ ẹ̀ ní ṣàtúngbéyẹ̀wò fọ́nrán yìí lórí ibẹ̀ bákan náà ẹ̀ bá like comment and share like follow and share kí ọlọ́wọ́ bá aláàkúnṣe àṣà nìkan kan wà lẹ́sàn-án lórí Abdulhamid bọ́lá náà ní ọkọ̀ tèmi títí ẹ̀dẹ́gbẹ̀jọ́ láti jọ pàdé. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.